Spirit Untamed is a 2021 American animated adventure film directed by Elaine Bogan and co-directed by Ennio Torreson Jr., written by Ori Wallington and Kristen Hahn. The second theatrical film of the Spirit franchise, it is a soft reboot 5 of Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, 2002, and is based on characters from Netflix spin-off series, Spirit Riding Free. With the voices of Isabella Merced, Jake Gyllenhaal, Marcy Martin, Mckenna Grace, Julianne Moore, Walton Goggins, and Andre Braugher, the film is about a young girl named Fortuna Lucky Prescott who moves to the small rural community of Miradero, where she meets the titular wild Kiger Mustang. As the son of Spirit and Rain from Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, she names the horse Spirit after his father, and Lucky immediately begins to bond with him. The film was announced to be in development in October 2019, and production was done remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic. The film was dedicated to the memory of Kelly Asbury, the co-director of the original Spirit film, who died on June 26, 2020. Produced by DreamWorks Animation, Spirit Untamed was theatrically released in the United States on June 4, 2021, by Universal Pictures. The film received mixed reviews from critics who deemed the film inferior to the original and unnecessary, though its animation and humor was praised. The film underperformed at the box office, grossing over $42 million worldwide against a budget of $30 million, making it both DreamWorks Animation's cheapest and lowest grossing film to date. Plot: in the early 1900s in the Wild West, Milagro Navarro Prescott performs her trademark act in the circus until she falls from a horse during one of her performances and dies. Years later, her young daughter, Fortuna Lucky Esperanza Navarro Prescott, has been living with her Aunt Cora and grandfather James in a city on the East Coast. However, after Lucky lets a flying squirrel in their house and ruins her grandfather's campaign party, she and Cora head to the western town of Miradero, where they will stay with Lucky's father Jim, whom Lucky has not known after the incident with Milagro, for the summer. On the train over, Lucky notices a Kiger Mustang running with his herd and goes to the back of the train to meet him. Upon arriving in Miradero, the pair meets local young riders Prue Granger, and her father Al, and Abigail Stone, and her brother Snips. The next day, Lucky goes to a corral where she sees the same horse from before. A man named Hendrix is trying to break the horse and treating it abusively. Lucky tells Jim and Cora about the horse, thinking he can be her new friend, but Jim does not want Lucky to go near the horses after what happened to Milagro. Nonetheless, Prue and Abigail help Lucky win over the trust of the horse, whom she names Spirit, naming him after his father from the original movie. After a while, Spirit trusts Lucky enough to eat an apple she offers him and allows her to pet him, sealing their bond. Lucky attempts to ride Spirit, but he escapes from the corral and runs away. Lucky is saved by Prue and Abigail after almost falling off a cliff at the canyon, but she falls into the water and dies and is still alive, but wounded. Jim finds and reprimands Lucky for disobeying him and warns her for being killed and hurt as well by Spirit just like Milagro. They go home arguing, making Lucky think he has gave up on her as she heard he was sending her back to her grandfather's campaign house in the city with Cora and never return to Miradero and never see Prue and Abigail again, but Lucky refuses. She sneaks out at night through the forest where she finds Spirit and his herd together, but is interrupted by Hendrix and his men, who capture all the horses but Spirit and take them in with a stolen train. Knowing Hendrix and his men are wranglers, who are taking the horses to a boat to be auctioned and worked to death, Lucky agrees to help Spirit rescue his herd. She enlists Prue and Abigail with their horses to embark on a journey to try and cut the wranglers off on their path by beating them to a water depot located beyond a summit called Heck Mountain. During the trip, Lucky builds up her relationship with Spirit and becomes good friends with Prue and Abigail as they travel. The girls reach the water depot the night before the wranglers are set to arrive, but Lucky wakes up the next day, realizing the wranglers made it earlier than expected. Spirit desperately attempts to save his herd on his own, but gets taken in by the wranglers. Determined to save Spirit, Lucky and her friends follow the train to the docks, where the wranglers are boarding the horses onto the boat. The girls arrive too late to stop the boat from leaving, but they manage to save Spirit. Lucky and Spirit get on board by leaping off the docks just like Milagro leaping off with her horse, freeing the other horses, and subduing the wranglers, with Spirit knocking Hendrix off the boat. Jim, Cora, and Al show up on a fast steam train and arrest Hendrix and the other wranglers. On their way back to Miradero, the girls travel to a field in the middle of the wilderness, and Lucky lets Spirit go, saying that he needs to stay with his herd. When she returns home, Lucky and Cora initially plan to return to the city, but after Lucky bonds with Jim at a rodeo, she decides instead to stay in Miradero with him and her friends, as Spirit is seen running through the fields with his herd. Voice cast: Isabella Merced as Fortuna, Lucky Esperanza Navarro Prescott, Milagro, and Jim's daughter, Cora's niece, and Prue and Abigail's friend. 7. Bridget Hoffman voices Baby Lucky. Marcy Martin as Prudence Prue Granger, Lucky's friend, and Al's daughter. 7. Mckenna Grace as Abigail Stone, Lucky's friend, and Snip's sister. 7. Walton Goggins as Hendrix, the leader of a gang of horse wranglers. 7. Andre Braugher as Al Granger, Prue's father. 7. Julianne Moore as Cora Prescott, Lucky's aunt, and Jim's older sister. 7. Jake Gyllenhaal as James Jim Prescott, Lucky's widowed father and Cora's younger brother. 7. Eiza González as Milagro Navarro Prescott, a famous horse rider and Lucky's late mother. 7. Lucian Perez as Snip Stone, Abigail's younger brother. 8. Joe Hart as James Prescott Sr., Lucky's grandfather. Alejandra Blengio as Valentina. Gino Montesinos as Wrangler/Rodeo Cowboy. Jerry Clark as Wrangler/Llama Cowboy. Lou Temple as Wrangler/Conductor. Gary Anthony Williams as Wrangler. Rennie Rivas as Lady with Dog. Horse vocals are provided by Gary Hecker. Production. Development. On October 7, 2019, DreamWorks Animation announced that a spin-off film of Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, as well as an adaptation of its spin-off TV series Spirit Riding Free, was in development, with Elaine Bogan serving as director and Ennio Torres Jr. serving as co-director from a script by series developer Ori Wallington, and produced by Karen Foster. 9. While Spirit Riding Free explores the characters of Lucky and her friends, Spirit Untamed focuses deeper for Lucky in an emotional take in a standalone film that is not a sequel to the original nor the TV series. 10-11. Animation and design. The film would be produced on a lower budget and be made by a different animation studio outside of DreamWorks' Glendale studio, similar to 2017's Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. 9. Following the first trailer, it was confirmed that Jellyfish Pictures, who worked on How to Train Your Dragon, Homecoming, would be providing the animation for the film, making Jellyfish's first animated project for over 300 people working on it. 12-13. The film uses a style that is a mix of 3D with the look of a hand-painted look from Riding Free, taking about 1,300 shots, 25 of which were animated by Jellyfish, and used 2D drawings to make 3D maquettes, some of which were supplied by DreamWorks. 14. Additional animation was provided by 88 Pictures from Troll Hunters, Rise of the Titans, and model rigging for the characters was provided by Minimo VFX. Production of the film started in August 2019 and shifted to work remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic. 15. Music. Main article, Spirit Untamed, soundtrack. On May 6, 2021, Amy Doherty, composer for the DreamWorks animation short film Marooned, was confirmed to be composing the music for the film, replacing Hans Zimmer, who composed the score for Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. Doherty was the first woman to compose a DreamWorks film. 16. The following day, a single titled Fearless, Valiente duet, written by Doherty and performed by Isabella Merced and Eiza González, was released by Backlot Music. 17. A second single, titled You Belong, performed by Becky G, was released on May 21, 2021. 18. A soundtrack of the film was released on May 28, 2021, and additionally, Robin Pecknold of Fleet Foxes is featured on several tracks contributing vocal harmonies along with Eiza González. Riding Free, the theme song from Spirit Riding Free by Carrie Kimmel, is featured in Untamed. 19. Release. Theatrical. Spirit Untamed was theatrically released on June 4, 2021, by Universal Pictures. 20. It was previously scheduled for May 14, 2021. 9. The film was released on digital rental on June 24, 2021, on streaming services Apple TV and Amazon Prime Video. Home media. Spirit Untamed was released on DVD and Blu-ray on August 31, 2021, by Universal Pictures Home Entertainment through Studio Distribution Services LLC in the United States. It was then released on DVD and Blu-ray as a special sleepover edition on October 25, 2021, by Warner Brothers. Home Entertainment in the United Kingdom, which features an hour of special features including how-to sessions on how to create your own indoor campfire, how to ukulele, and how to make s'mores, meet the cast, drawing spirit, finding your spirit, deleted scenes, and sing-along videos. It was later released on Hulu on November 3, 2021. The film grossed $2.9 million in home video sales. 21. Reception. Box office. Spirit Untamed grossed $17.7 million in the United States and Canada, and $25 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $42.7 million. 3-4. In the United States, Spirit Untamed was released alongside The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and was projected to gross around $5 million from 3,200 theaters in its opening weekend. 22-2. The film made $2.4 million on its first day, and went on to debut to $6.3 million, finishing fourth at the box office. 23-24. In its sophomore weekend, the film dropped 57% to $3.8 million, finishing sixth. 25. Critical response. On review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 47% based on 116 reviews, with an average rating of 5.5/10. The website's critics' consensus reads, "While it might be a passable diversion for younger viewers, Spirit Untamed is a middling sequel that lacks the essential energy suggested by its title." 26. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 49 out of 100 based on 23 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. 27 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale, the same as the 2002 film. Post-track reported 87% of audience members gave it a positive score, with 66% saying they would definitely recommend it. 24. Lovia Gyarki of The Hollywood Reporter praised the film for its animation, writing, "Spirit Untamed is beautiful to look at and occasionally genuinely funny. The stunning and detailed animations saturate Lucky's world with an impressive array of colors, from the crimson apples she feeds Spirit to the pistachio and emerald green leaves on the swaying trees." However, in criticizing the character of Spirit, she noted that Spirit is more one-dimensional here. He lacks the simultaneous mix of curiosity and complete disdain for humans that made his perspective charming in the first place. 28. Pete Hammond of Deadline praised the film for its female cast, stating that after all the decades of boy-driven stories set in the Wild West, it is refreshing to see the girls get their turn, and that is exactly what Spirit, Riding Free writer Ori Wallington and Kristen Hahn have in mind, along with their director Elaine Bogan and producer Karen Foster. Additionally, Hammond praised the soundtrack and vocal performances, which he wrote were perfectly pitched here, a step above the TV show if not quite up to the artistry of the original film. 29. Peter DeBrugge of Variety was critical of the film's animation, stating the film substitutes unappealingly designed, obviously digital characters, who've been badly rigged and stuck in under-detailed environments. He also added that Spirit still looks like Spirit, but neither the horse nor the girl, who's voiced by live-action Dora actor Isabella Merced, has much of a personality, while the plot is less sophisticated than what audiences might expect from an early 20th century single-reel silent movie. 30. Beatrice Loaiza of the New York Times gave the film a negative review, stating that this spin-off of Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron is a bland, bubbly romp through the Wild West, with a heavy dose of girl power. 31. Jesse Hassanger of the AV Club gave the film a C+, stating that as a DreamWorks production, Spirit Untamed carries inarguable novelty. It's a sweet, simple western, relaxed about its identity as a girl-centric adventure story, in contrast to bigger DreamWorks cartoons sweaty about their desire to draw eyeballs from Pixar and Minions. He also praised the film for its expansion of the original series, noting that Spirit Untamed essentially retells, modifies, and expands the events of the show's pilot. 32. Accolades. Award date of ceremony category recipient, S. Result. Heartland Film Festival 2021 Truly Moving Picture Award 1. Hollywood Music in Media Awards November 17, 2021 Best Original Score, Animated Film Amy Doherty nominated. Best Original Song, Animated Film Fearless, Valiente, Amy Doherty, Isabella Merced and Eiza González, nominated. Annie Awards 33 March 12, 2022 Best Storyboarding Gary Graham nominated. Mckenna Awards 34 October 2, 2022 Best Feature Film nominated. In other media. Main article, Spirit, franchise. Video game. A video game adaptation, titled Spirit, Lucky's Big Adventure, was released on June 1, 2021, on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. The game was developed by Heartfuloff Games and released by Outright Games. 35. NASCAR Cup Series sponsorship. Quinn Houff, sponsored by Spirit Untamed and Mane and Tail, waiting on pit road. Spirit Untamed, in partnership with the hair care and horse care company Mane and Tail, would sponsor Starcom racing driver Quinn Houff in the NASCAR Cup Series for select races. Throughout the midway point of the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season, Houff would do numerous events including autograph signings with special Spirit Untamed merchandise being made. As of June 27, 2021, Houff has raced the scheme 4 times, once at the Circuit of the Americas, once at Nashville Superspeedway, and 2 during the Pocono Raceway doubleheader. Houff would finish 34th at COTA with a DNF, 38th at Nashville with a DNF, 31st at Pocono 1, on the lead lap, and 33rd at Pocono 2, 5 laps down. Web series. On February 9, 2022, DreamWorks announced a new series Spirit and Friends inspired by the characters from Spirit Riding Free, which takes place in the setting of Spirit Untamed, and release has begun on YouTube on February 12. Isabella Yolanda Moner 12, born July 10, 2001 known professionally as Isabella Merced since 2019, is an American actress. She played the lead role in the Nickelodeon television series 100 Things to Do Before High School, 2014 to 2016, and went on to feature in the films Transformers, The Last Night, 2017, Instant Family, 2018, and Sicario, Day of the Soldado, 2018. She starred as the titular character in the adventure film Dora and the Lost City of Gold, 2019, and played main roles in the films Madam Web, Turtles All the Way Down, and Alien, Romulus, all in 2024. In 2025, she had a starring role in the second season of the HBO series The Last of Us and played Hawkgirl in the DCU film Superman and series Peacemaker. Early life. Merced was born in Cleveland, Ohio. 34. She is the daughter of Katrine, a nurse, who was born in Lima, Peru, and Patrick Moner, a firefighter, who was born in Louisiana. 356. Merced has stated that Spanish was her first language, and she struggled with English when she first started grade school 5, adding that she considers herself half Peruvian and half from Ohio. I wish I could say I'm 100% Peruvian, I've always felt that way. 7. She has 2 brothers. At age 15, she was accepted into college. 8-9. Merced began acting after her family's Cleveland home was destroyed by a fire. Her father was the firefighter on call that night. 6. She was a Judy Garland fan, so her parents, in an attempt to distract her from the loss, encouraged Merced to audition for a local production of The Wizard of Oz. She agreed and was cast as a Munchkin. She attended the Fairmount Performing Arts Conservatory, led by Broadway producer Fred Sternfeld, who tried to persuade Merced's mother into taking her to New York to pursue auditions. After some reluctance, her mother agreed, and the family moved to New York City for a month to help Merced pursue a career on Broadway. 8-10. Career. Merced has said that she wanted to be an actress from a young age, inspired by movies featuring Shirley Temple and Judy Garland, and starting in local community theater at age 6. 11. Merced booked her first job, a Claritin commercial, on what was supposed to be her last day in New York City during the summer she spent auditioning there. 8. She made her Broadway debut at age 10 in a production of Evita 12 in which she sang in Spanish with Ricky Martin. 5. Merced's first starring performance was as C.J. Martin, the lead role on the Nickelodeon television series 100 Things to Do Before High School 5-12-13 from 2014 to 2016. That same year, she began providing the voice of Kate, one of the main characters in the Dora the Explorer spin-off, Dora and Friends, Into the City, a role she performed from 2014 to 2017. 14. In 2015, she appeared as Lori Collins in the Nickelodeon original movie Splitting Atom 15 and was cast as Sadie, one of the leading roles, in the 2016 Nickelodeon original movie Legends of the Hidden Temple. 16-17. Merced's debut album Stopping Time, 2015, was produced by Broadway Records. 18. In May 2016, Merced was cast in the film Transformers: The Last Night, which was released in June 2017. 19-20. She voiced Heather in the animated film The Nut Job 2, Nutty by Nature, which was theatrically released on August 11, 2017. 21. Merced in 2018. In 2018, Merced had a major role in Sicario, Day of the Soldado, playing the daughter of a drug cartel head 2223 in a performance lauded by critics. The New Yorker's Anthony Lane wrote, "Mona is terrific, and her character's fortunes can be read in her eyes blazing to begin with, as she scraps with another girl in a schoolyard, but dark and blank by the end, their youthful fire doused by the violence that she has seen." 24. In the same year, she played the adopted daughter of the characters played by Mark Wahlberg and Rose Byrne in the comedy film Instant Family 25, for which she also wrote and sang the song I'll Stay. 26-27. In 2019, Merced starred as the title character in Dora and the Lost City of Gold, a live-action film adaptation of the animated series 28-29, and was cast in the Christmas romantic comedy ensemble film Let It Snow. 30. The same year, she was cast opposite Jason Momoa in the film Sweet Girl for Netflix. 31. Merced in 2019. On October 14, 2019, Merced announced that she had decided to change her stage name to Isabella Merced in memory of her late grandmother. 32. Her first single, Poppy, was released in 2019. 33. Followed by her first music video released on November 6, 2019. 34. Failed verification. Merced released her debut EP The Better Half of Me in 2020 through Republic Records. 35. Independent source needed and was named one of Billboard's top 15 new Peruvian artists to listen to in July 2020. 33. In 2024, She starred in Turtles All the Way Down, a film adaptation of the 2017 novel by John Green 3637 and Fede Alvarez Alien, Romulus. 38 in April 2025, Merced appeared as Dina in Season 2 of The Last of Us. 39 in July 2025, Merced appeared as Kendra Saunders / Hawkgirl in the DC Universe, DCU, film Superman, 2025. 40. In August 2025, TV Line named Merced the year's drama star to watch, as part of Women to Watch. 41. Additionally, Variety recognized her in their annual Power of Young Hollywood Impact Report. Those recognized rep the future of the entertainment business. 42. Personal life. Merced describes herself as having been queer my whole life, and has been in queer relationships. 43-44 She says she aims to do her part for the queer community in American pop culture. 45 She attributes her Catholic upbringing to her having been closeted out of being complicit and somebody who has accepted, maybe suppressing their queerness for their environment, basically, and to adapt. 46. She has polycystic ovary syndrome. 47 And has attended therapy and openly discussed her struggles with anxiety. Bridget Hoffman, born 1961/1962, is an American voice actress and ADR writer who has provided voices for a number of English-language versions of Japanese anime films and television series, usually under an alias such as Ruby Marlowe. Prior to her involvement in anime, she had some on-screen acting roles in films and television including Hercules, The Legendary Journeys and other media produced by Sam Raimi. Some of her major voice roles are title characters such as Belle Dandy in Oh My Goddess, the movie, Mizuho Kazumi in Please Teacher, / Please Twins, Mima Kirigo in Perfect Blue, and Lane Iwakura in Serial Experiments Lane. She also voiced lead ensemble characters as Rune Venus in El Hazard, Mayaka Yuki in Fushigi Yuji, Raquel Kajul in Scrap Princess, Fu Haoji in Magic Knight Ray Arth, Shinobu Mahara in Love Hina, Nia Tepelin in Gurren Lagann, Connie Coco in Demon Slayer, Iris Veal von Einsborn in Fate/Zero. 7 She served as the ADR director for the Fushigi Yuji series and films, Oh My Goddess, the movie and a series of shorts called The Adventures of Mini Goddess. She also provides background voices in a number of animated films recorded in the Los Angeles area, including Frozen, Epic, and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. 8-9 In video games, she provides the voice of Cosmos in the Xenosaga series as well as Atoli in the .hack//G.U series. Career. Hoffman grew up in the Detroit area and graduated from Michigan State. 10 She was a model for the promotional pictures of Sam Raimi's 1981 film The Evil Dead 2 11-12 and has participated in several Josh Becker-directed films and episodes, including Running Time, Cleveland Smith, Bounty Hunter as well as small roles in Raimi's films Crime Wave and Darkman. While in Los Angeles, she worked as an actress on a number of plays and also a narrator model for some auto shows. One of her first jobs there was doing a Budweiser commercial with Leon Redbone. She starred alongside Ned Beatty as a historian who time travels with a group of scientists in the 1989 film Time Trackers. 13-14 She had a starring guest role as Echidna, the mother of all monsters, in Raimi's television show Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, and would make other appearances in the series. 11-15 Hoffman has been involved in voiceovers for anime titles. Many of her roles have been under an alias such as Ruby Marlowe, which was her character's name in her 1994 film Double Exposure. She worked with Anime/Pioneer Entertainment on the Fushigi Yuji, the Mysterious Play anime series, where she served as the voice director as well as voiced the starring role of Mayaka Yuki. The show, along with another Pioneer production El Hazard, where she voices Rune Venus, would air regularly on the international channel. Her voice was not warmly received by critics on Anime News Network who disliked her squealing schoolgirl tone 16 and high pitch 17, although Mike Dungan of Mania.com find her direction and acting to be entertaining. 18. She starred as Mima Kirigo in Perfect Blue, a psychological horror film by Satoshi Kon about a former Japanese idol who tries her hand at acting, but whose life falls apart when she is stalked by an obsessed fan and her associates are murdered one by one. Carlos Ross of Them Anime Reviews considered the general dub acting as sophisticated, subtle, and well done, 19, while Chris Homer of Fandom Post enjoyed both the English and the Japanese versions. 20 On the DVD extra for the film, Hoffman gave a Q&A about her character. 21 She would also voice title character Lane Iwakura in Serial Experiments. Lane, she plays a teenager who is deeply involved in the computer network world. Aaron Silver of Anime News Network thought the dubbing was decent, but her role as Lane lacks some emotion in comparison with her Japanese voice counterpart. 22. With the studio Bang Zoom Entertainment, she voiced Fu Haoji in Magic Knight Ray Arth, which was about a trio of junior high students who are transported to a fantasy world. Both Ray Arth seasons were dubbed into English. In 2001, she worked with Pioneer, now part of Genian Entertainment, to ADR direct My Goddess, the movie, a feature film in the Oh My Goddess franchise in which she also voiced the title character Belle Dandy. 23 In a review of the movie, Karen Jellender of Mania.com, who was impressed by Hoffman's previous performances as Mima and Lane, thought the dubbing was a mixed bag, and that her portrayal of Belle Dandy was the weakest of the bunch, with rather forced acting of emotional dialogue. 24 In contrast, Alan Divers of Anime News Network thought the English cast was suitable and comparable to the Japanese version. Hoffman would later reprise the role of Belle Dandy in a series of anime shorts called The Adventures of Mini Goddess, where she also served as its ADR script writer and the ADR director. 23 She would also have a title role as Mizuho Kazumai in Please Teacher, in which she portrays a teacher who marries her student and is actually a space alien. 25 And a title role as Mahoro Andu in Mahoro-matic, Automatic Maiden, where she plays an android maid. 26-27 She also became married to Riv Hutton in 2001. 28 In the fantasy adventure Scrap Princess, Hoffman plays Raquel Cajal, the older sister of the title character. Theron Martin of Anime News Network describes her character as initially ditzy but becomes sensible and coldly pragmatic, and that her voice was a particularly good fit. 3 And a dead-on portrayal. 29 Hoffman would voice high school student Shinobu Mahara in the Love Hina romantic comedy series, and supporting character Ryoko Asakura in Bang Zoom's dubbing of the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya series. 30 She had recurring roles in the related anime series Lucky Star, where she plays Inorai Iragi, the eldest sister of the Iragi family, and Yukari Takare, who is Miyuki's mother. Hoffman would continue voice acting in the 2010s. In 2013, she voiced Iris Veal von Einsborn in Fate/Zero, a prequel to the Fate/Stay Night series. 31 Outside of anime productions, Hoffman has been involved in a number of animated films, including Frozen and Tangled, where she participates in background voices, ADR loop groups or additional voices. 8 In 2012, she was a panelist in the SAG Foundation's voiceover summit held in the Los Angeles area, where she discussed ADR, voice matching, and voice replacement. 32 She voices in video game series, including .hack//g.u, where she voices Atoli 33, and Xenosaga, where she voices Cosmos in Xenosaga Episode 3, also Sprak Zarathustra. 33-34 She also continues to act in local theater productions. Kayla Marseille Martin 1/MRSE/Marseille 2, born August 14, 2004, 3 is an American actress and producer, best known for her role as Diane Johnson on the ABC sitcom Blackish, 2014 to 2022. In 2019, Martin had a starring role in the comedy film Little, which she also produced at the age of 14. She holds the Guinness World Record as the youngest Hollywood executive producer for the movie. Time magazine named her on its Time 100 Next the year of its release. 5 In 2022, she produced and starred in the sports comedy film, Fantasy Football. Early life. Martin was born in Plano, Texas 6 to Carol and Joshua Martin. 7. Martin's acting career was launched with a glamour pictorial 8 in which the photographer gave Martin's parents a discount in exchange for her father's promise that he would submit the photos to talent agencies. 8. The photos were sent out to 4 agencies and one immediately signed her. 8. At age 5, Martin landed her first national commercial for Choice Hotel. 9. 10. Her family then moved to Los Angeles in 2013, so she could pursue an acting career. 11. Career. 2014 to 2015, career beginnings. In 2014, Martin was cast as Diane Johnson, the daughter of Andre, Anthony Anderson, and Rainbow Johnson, Tracy Ellis Ross, on the ABC sitcom Blackish, created by Kenya Barris. For her breakthrough role, Martin has received numerous awards and nominations, including 3 NAACP Image Awards for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series 12, 13, 14 and a Young Artist Award. 11. She has received 6 NAACP Image Awards nominations and 2 Screen Actors Guild Award for Outstanding Performance by an Ensemble in a Comedy Series. 2016 to 2019, breakthrough with An American Girl Story and Little. Martin, second from right, with her Little co-stars Regina Hall and Issa Rae and director Tina Gordon. In 2016, Martin made her film debut, playing a leading role in the Amazon Studios' original film An American Girl Story, Melody 1963, Love Has to Win, set in Detroit during the Civil Rights Movement. That same year, she did a voice role for the movie Nina, which tells the life story of American artist and activist Nina Simone. 15. In 2019, Martin starred in her first studio feature film, the comedy Little, for Universal Pictures. At the age of 13, she became executive producer of the film, making her the youngest person to ever produce a movie, as well as the youngest African American producer. 16, 17, 18, 19. In February 2019, Genius Productions, Martin's company, signed a first-look production deal with Universal. Martin's first film as part of the deal is Step Monster, a comedy about a teenage girl who is adjusting to life with a new stepmother. 20. She is the youngest person to get a first-look deal at Universal, and the youngest person to get a deal at any studio. 21. In May 2019, it was announced Martin would be producing and starring in the film adaptation of Amari and the Night Brothers for Universal Pictures. 22. In December 2019, it was announced that Martin would be producing the comedy film Queen. 23. 24. 2020, present, Paw Patrol, the movie and The Masked Singer. She voiced the character Liberty in the 2021 film Paw Patrol, the movie and the 2023 sequel film Paw Patrol, the Mighty Movie. 25. 26. In April 2022, it was announced that Martin would star alongside Kelly Rowland and Omari Hardwick in the comedy film Fantasy Football. 27. In 2023, she produced Saturdays, a coming-of-age comedy television series for Disney Channel. The show was cancelled after 1 season. 28. 29. In 2024, Martin competed in season 12 of The Masked Singer as Woodpecker, where Jennifer Lewis, who portrayed Miss Cleopatra back in season 11, served as her mask ambassador. She was eliminated in the Group A finals alongside Paula Cole as Ship. Walton Goggins Jr. Born November 10, 1971, one is an American actor. He has starred in various television series, including The Shield, 2002 to 2008, Justified, 2010 to 2015, Vice Principals, 2016 to 2017, The Righteous Gemstones, 2019 to 2025, Invincible, 2021, Present, Fallout, 2024, Present, and The White Lotus, 2025. 2. He was nominated for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series for Justified and The White Lotus, and for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series for Fallout. Goggins starred in and co-produced the Academy Award-winning short film The Accountant, 2001. 3. He has also featured in feature films, such as Predators, 2010, Lincoln, Django Unchained, both 2012, The Hateful Eight, 2015, Maze Runner, The Death Cure, Tomb Raider, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, all 2018. He has risen to become one of the most recognizable Southern actors. Early life. Goggins was born in Birmingham, Alabama, the son of Janet Long and Walton Sanders Goggins Sr. 1. He was raised in Lithia Springs, Georgia, a suburb of Atlanta, graduated from Lithia Springs High School and attended Georgia Southern University for a year. 3. Career. Goggins moved to Los Angeles at 19, working at LA Fitness and a valet parking business while taking acting classes and auditioning. 3. After starring in a few roles in Georgia, he met Ray Mckenna while filming Murder in Mississippi. 4. Goggins played Shane Vendrell in the FX drama series The Shield. He formed the production company Ginny Mule Pictures, which produced 4 films, The Accountant, a short film which won an Academy Award for live-action short film, Crystal, Sundance Dramatic Competition, Randy and the Mob, and That Evening Sun, which won the South by Southwest Special Jury Prize. They later created the drama series Rectify. 5. Goggins was set to play the lead and AMC had bought the pilot script, written by Mckenna, a role which went to Aidan Young, when the series later went to Sundance TV. 6. Goggins had a major supporting role as a deadly death row inmate being hunted by the titular antagonists in the film Predators. He played Boyd Crowder in the pilot episode for the FX drama series Justified. Before Goggins was cast, Boyd was intended to die in the pilot episode, but Graham Yost kept the character when the character scored highly with test audiences. Goggins joined the main cast for the second season in May 2010. 7. He was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series for his role on Justified. 8. In 2011, he appeared in Code of the West, a commercial for Ram Trucks Guts and Glory campaign. He appeared in Cowboys and Aliens as Hunt, a bandit formerly in the employ of the protagonist. He played a sadistic overseer and slave fighting trainer in the Western film Django Unchained. 9. Goggins in 2014. Goggins played a transgender sex worker in the FX drama series Sons of Anarchy. He previously worked with the show's creator, Kurt Sutter, when the latter was a writer and executive producer on The Shield. The name Venus Van Dam is a play on the undercover name Cletus Van Dam used by the Shield character Shane Vendrell. 10. He played Chris Mannix in The Hateful Eight and Lee Russell in the HBO dark comedy series Vice Principals. 311 The New York Times critic Mike Hale wrote, "Walton Goggins makes a habit of being the best thing about the television shows he's in." 12. In 2018, Goggins played Lawrence in Maze Runner, The Death Cure, Matthias Vogel in Tomb Raider, and Sonny Birch in Ant-Man and the Wasp. That same year, he made a guest appearance in the CBS sitcom The Big Bang Theory as a jealous husband. In 2019, he played the lead character in the CBS sitcom The Unicorn and starred in the comedy series The Righteous Gemstones, alongside Vice Principals co-star Danny McBride. In 2020, Goggins voiced part of the true crime podcast Deep Cover, The Drug Wars. 13. Goggins left with fellow collaborators on Fallout during South by Southwest 2024. Goggins was cast as Jay Whittle / the hero in the Amazon Prime Video comedy miniseries I'm a Virgo. In 2024, he played Cooper Howard / the Ghoul in the Amazon Prime Video drama series Fallout, and Peter Tomarken in The Luckiest Man in America, based on an actual incident involving a contestant on the Tomarken-hosted game show Press Your Luck. The actor designed a series of active eyewear which he promoted in a co-branded commercial with GoDaddy that aired during Super Bowl 59 in 2025. 14. This was his first appearance in a Super Bowl commercial. 15. Goggins joined the ensemble cast for the third season of the anthology series The White Lotus. 16. Personal life. Goggins lost his front teeth in a childhood baseball accident when a ball was mistakenly thrown at him. 17. In 2001, Goggins married Leanne Knight. Although estranged, they remained married until she died from suicide on November 12, 2004. 1819 Goggins married filmmaker Nadia Connors in August 2011 and they have a son together. Julianne Smith, born December 3, 1960, known professionally as Julianne Moore, is an American actress. She is particularly known for her portrayals of emotionally troubled and vulnerable women. Prolific in independent films and blockbusters since the early 1990s, she is the recipient of numerous accolades, including an Academy Award, a BAFTA Award, 2 Emmy Awards, and 2 Golden Globe Awards. She is one of only 2 actresses to win the Best Actress award at all 3 major European film festivals: Cannes Film Festival, Berlin Film Festival, and the Venice Film Festival. After studying theater at Boston University, she played a regular in the soap opera As the World Turns from 1985 to 1988, earning a Daytime Emmy. Moore made her breakthrough with Robert Altman's ensemble film Shortcuts, 1993, followed by a critically acclaimed performance in Todd Haynes' Safe, 1995. Starring roles in the blockbusters 9 Months, 1995, and The Lost World, Jurassic Park, 1997, established her as a Hollywood leading lady. She received Oscar nominations for her roles as a 1970s pornographic actress in the drama film Boogie Nights, 1997, and emotionally unsatisfied housewives in the period dramas The End of the Affair, 1999, Far From Heaven, 2002, and The Hours, 2002. Moore's career progressed with roles in The Big Lebowski, 1998, Magnolia, 1999, Hannibal, 2001, Children of Men, 2006, A Single Man, 2009, The Kids Are All Right, 2010, Crazy, Stupid, Love, 2011, and Maps to the Stars, 2014. She won a Primetime Emmy for playing Sarah Palin in the HBO film Game Change, 2012, and the Academy Award for Best Actress for her portrayal of an Alzheimer's patient in Still Alice, 2014. Her highest grossing releases came with the final 2 films in the Hunger Games film series, 2014 to 2015, and the spy film Kingsman: The Golden Circle, 2017. Since then she starred in independent films and streaming projects including Haynes' drama May December, 2023, the historical drama miniseries Mary and George, 2024, and the black comedy limited series Sirens, 2025. In addition to acting, Moore has written a series of children's books about a character named Freckleface Strawberry. She is married to director Bart Freundlich and they have 2 children. In 2015, Time named her to its 100 most influential people in the world list, and in 2020, the New York Times named her one of the greatest actors of the 21st century. Early life and education. Julianne Smith was born on December 3, 1961 at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. To her father, Peter Moore Smith III, a paratrooper in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War, attained the rank of colonel and became a military judge. 4-5 her mother, Anne, née Love 1940 to 2009, 6 was a psychologist and social worker from Greenock, Scotland, who had migrated with her family to the United States in 1951. 3-7 Moore has a younger sister and a younger brother, the novelist Peter Moore Smith. 3-8-9 having a Scottish mother, Moore claimed British citizenship in 2011 in her honor. 2-10. The Huntington Avenue Theater, formerly of Boston University, where Moore trained to be an actress. Due to her father's occupation, Moore frequently moved around the United States as a child. She was close with her family as a result, but says that she never had the feeling of coming from one particular place. 15 The family lived in multiple locations including Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Panama, Nebraska, Alaska, New York, and Virginia, and more. Attended 9 different schools. 11 The constant moving around made her an insecure child, and she struggled to establish friendships. 25 In spite of the difficulties, Moore has remarked that an itinerant lifestyle was beneficial to her future career. When you move around a lot, you learn that behavior is mutable. I would change, depending on where I was. It teaches you to watch, to reinvent, that character can change. 12. When Moore was 16, the family moved from Falls Church, Virginia, where Moore was attending J.E.B. Stewart High School, to Frankfurt, West Germany, where she went to Frankfurt American High School. 5. She was clever and studious, a self-proclaimed good girl, and she planned to become a doctor. 4. She had never considered performing or even attending the theater. 11 But she was an avid reader, which led her to begin acting in school productions. 13 Moore appeared in several plays including Tartuffe and Medea, and with the encouragement of her English teacher, she chose to pursue a theatrical career. 14 Her parents supported her decision, but asked that she train at a university to provide the added security of a college degree. 4 She was accepted into the Boston University College of Fine Arts in Boston and graduated in 1983 with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater. 14. Career. Early work and breakthrough, 1985 to 1993. There was already a Julie Smith, a Julie Ann Smith, there was everything. My father's middle name is Moore, my mother's name is Ann. So I just slammed the N onto the Julie. That way, I could use both of their names and not hurt anyone's feelings. But it's horrible to change your name. I'd been Julie Smith my whole life, and I didn't want to change it. Moore explaining why and how she adopted her stage name. 15. Moore moved to Manhattan, New York after graduating and worked as a waitress. 16 After registering her stage name with Actors Equity. 15 She started her career in 1985 off-Broadway. 17 Her first screen role came in 1984, in an episode of the soap opera The Edge of Night. 18 Her break was a year later when she joined the cast of As the World Turns. Playing the dual roles of half-sisters Franny and Sabrina Hughes, she found the intensive work to be an important learning experience, and she said, I gained confidence and learned to take responsibility. 14. Moore performed on the show until 1988, when she won a Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Ingenue in a drama series. 1920 Before leaving As the World Turns, she had a role in the 1987 CBS miniseries I'll Take Manhattan. 11 Once she finished her contract at World Turns, she played Ophelia in a Guthrie Theatre production of Hamlet opposite Zelko Ivanek. 15 21-22 The actress returned intermittently to television over the next 3 years, appearing in the TV movies Money, Power, Murder, 1989, The Last to Go, 1991, and Cast a Deadly Spell, 1991. 23 In 1990, Moore began working with stage director Andre Gregory on a workshop theater production of Chekhov's Uncle Vanya. Described by Moore as being one of the most fundamentally important acting experiences I ever had. 11 The group took 4 years to explore the text and then give intimate performances to friends. 24 Also in 1990, Moore made her cinematic debut as a mummy's victim in Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, a low-budget horror which she later called terrible. 25-26. Her next film role, in 1992, introduced her to a wide audience. The thriller The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, in which she played the main character's ill-fated friend, was #1 at the US box office, and Moore caught the attention of several critics for her performance. 15-27 She followed it the same year with the crime comedy The Gun in Betty Lou's Handbag, appearing as the protagonist's kooky sister. She continued to play supporting roles throughout 1993, first featuring in the erotic thriller Body of Evidence as Madonna's love rival. The film was panned by reviewers and heavily mocked, and Moore subsequently regretted her involvement, terming it a big mistake. 1528 she had greater success in a 1993 romantic comedy with Johnny Depp. In Benny and June, Moore played a gentle waitress who falls for Aidan Quinn's character, Benny. She also appeared briefly as a doctor in one of the year's biggest hits, the Harrison Ford-starring thriller The Fugitive. 1529 filmmaker Robert Altman saw Moore in the Uncle Vanya production and was sufficiently impressed to cast her in his next project, the ensemble drama Short Cuts, 1993, based on short stories by Raymond Carver. Moore was pleased to work with him, as his film Three Women, 1977, gave her a strong appreciation for cinema when she saw it while in college. 30 playing artist Marian Wyman was an experience she found difficult, as she was a total unknown surrounded by established actors, but this proved to be Moore's breakthrough role. 2531 Todd McCarthy called her performance arresting and remarked that her monologue, delivered naked from the waist down, would no doubt be the most discussed scene of the film. 32 Short Cuts was critically acclaimed and received awards for Best Ensemble Cast at the Venice Film Festival and the Golden Globe Awards. Moore received an individual nomination for Best Supporting Female at the Independent Spirit Awards, and the monologue scene earned her a degree of notoriety. 3334. Rise to Prominence, 1994 to 1997. Short Cuts was one of a trio of successive film appearances which raised Moore's profile. 14 In 1994, Vanya on 42nd Street came out, a filmed version of her ongoing Uncle Vanya workshop production, directed by Louis Malle. 24 Moore's performance of Yelena was called simply outstanding by Time Out 35 and she won the Boston Society of Film Critics Award for Best Actress. 36 Afterwards Moore was given her first leading role, playing an unhappy suburban housewife who develops multiple chemical sensitivity in Todd Haynes' low-budget film Safe, 1995. She had to lose a substantial amount of weight for the role, which made her ill, and she then swore off changing her body for a film again. 37 In its review, Empire, a British magazine, said that Safe first established Moore's credentials as perhaps the finest actress of her generation. 38 David Thompson wrote that it is one of the most arresting, original, and accomplished films of the 1990s. 4. The performance earned Moore an Independent Spirit Award nomination for Best Actress. 39 Reflecting on the three roles Moore said, "They all came out at once, and I suddenly had this profile. It was amazing." 14. Moore's next appearance was a supporting role in the comedy drama Roommates, 1995, playing the daughter-in-law of Peter Falk's character. Her next film, 9 Months, 1995, was crucial in establishing her as a Hollywood leading lady. 2. The romantic comedy, directed by Chris Columbus and co-starring Hugh Grant, was poorly reviewed but a box office success. It remains one of her highest-grossing films. 40 41 42 In her next release Moore appeared alongside Sylvester Stallone and Antonio Banderas in the thriller Assassins, 1995. Despite a negative response from critics, the film earned $83.5 million worldwide. 43 44 In her sole appearance in 1996, the Merchant Ivory film Surviving Picasso, she played the artist Dora Maar opposite Anthony Hopkins. The period drama met with poor reviews. 45. A key point in her career came when Steven Spielberg cast Moore as paleontologist Dr. Sarah Harding in The Lost World, Jurassic Park, the sequel to his 1993 blockbuster Jurassic Park. 2. Filming the big-budget production was a new experience for Moore and she said she enjoyed herself tremendously. 10. It was a physically demanding role and she commented, "There was so much hanging everywhere. We hung off everything available, plus we climbed, ran, jumped off things, it was just non-stop." 46. The Lost World, 1997, was one of the 10 highest-grossing films in history at the time. 37 And was pivotal in raising Moore's profile. "Suddenly I had a commercial film career," she said. 2. The Myth of Fingerprints was her second film released in 1997. During its production she met her future husband, the movie's director Bart Freundlich. One later in 1997, Moore made a cameo appearance in the dark comedy Chicago Cab. 47. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Moore achieved significant industry recognition. Her first Academy Award nomination came for the critically acclaimed 48 Boogie Nights, 1997, which centers on a group of individuals working in the 1970s pornography industry. Director Paul Thomas Anderson was not a well-known figure before its production, with only one feature credit to his name, but Moore agreed to the film after being impressed with his exhilarating script. 111 The ensemble piece featured Moore as Amber Waves, a leading porn actress and mother figure who longs to be reunited with her real son. Martin Glanville of the BBC said that the role required a mixture of confidence and vulnerability and was impressed with Moore's effort. 49 Time Out called the performance superb. 50 and Janet Maslin of the New York Times found it wonderful. 51 Alongside her Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress, Moore was nominated for Golden Globe and Screen Actors Guild Awards, and several critics groups gave her awards. Gaining further recognition, 1998 to 2002. Moore played Maud Lebowski in The Big Lebowski, 1998. She is pictured alongside Jeff Bridges, who co-starred in the film, at the 2011 Lebowski Fest at the Hammerstein Ballroom in Manhattan. Next was a role in the Coen brothers' dark comedy The Big Lebowski, 1998. The film was not a hit at the time of its release but has since become a cult classic. 52 She played Maud Lebowski, a feminist artist and daughter of the eponymous character who becomes involved with the dude, Jeff Bridges, the film's star. At the end of 1998, Moore had a flop with Gus Van Sant's Psycho, a remake of the classic Alfred Hitchcock film of the same name. 26 She portrayed Lila Crane in the film, which received poor reviews. 53 and is described by The Guardian as being one of her pointless outings. 37 A review in Box Office magazine bemoaned that a group of enormously talented people wasted several months of their lives working on the film. 54. After reuniting with Robert Altman for the dark comedy Cookie's Fortune, 1999, Moore starred in An Ideal Husband, Oliver Parker's adaptation of the Oscar Wilde play. Set in London at the end of the 19th century, her performance of Mrs. Laura Cheverly earned a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy. She was also nominated in the drama category that year for her work in The End of the Affair, 1999. Based on the novel by Graham Greene, Moore played opposite Ralph Fiennes as an adulterous wife in 1940s Britain. Michael Sragao lauded her, writing that her performance was the critical element that makes the film necessary viewing. 55. She received her second Academy Award nomination for the role, her first for Best Actress, as well as nominations at the British Academy Film Awards, BAFTA, and Screen Actors Guild, SAG, Awards. In between the two Golden Globe-nominated performances, Moore was in A Map of the World supporting Sigourney Weaver, as a bereaved mother. 23 Her fifth film of 1999 was the acclaimed drama Magnolia. 56 A giant mosaic chronicling the lives of multiple characters over one day in Los Angeles. 57 Paul Thomas Anderson, in his follow-up to Boogie Nights, wrote a role specifically for her. His primary objective was to see her explode, and he cast her as a morphine-addicted wife. 57 Moore said it was a particularly difficult role and she was rewarded with a SAG nomination. 1139 She was named Best Supporting Actress of 1999 by the National Board of Review, in recognition of her three performances in Magnolia, An Ideal Husband, and A Map of the World. 58. Apart from a cameo in The Ladies' Man, a comedy, Moore's other appearance in 2000 was in a short film adaptation of Samuel Beckett's play Not I. 59 In early 2001, she appeared as FBI agent Clarice Starling in Hannibal, a sequel to the Oscar-winning film The Silence of the Lambs. Jodie Foster had declined to reprise the role, and director Ridley Scott eventually cast Moore over Angelina Jolie, Cate Blanchett, Gillian Anderson, and Helen Hunt. 15. The news received considerable attention from the press, but Moore said she was not interested in nor capable of upstaging Foster. 15. Although it got mixed reviews, 60-61 Hannibal earned $58 million in its opening weekend and finished as the 10th highest grossing film of the year. 62-63. Moore starred in 3 more 2001 releases, with David Duchovny in the science fiction comedy Evolution, in her husband's dramatic film World Traveler, and with Kevin Spacey, Judi Dench, and Cate Blanchett in The Shipping News. All 3 films were poorly received. 64-65-66 The year 2002 marked a high point in Moore's career. 67 as she became the 9th performer to be nominated for 2 Academy Awards in the same year. 68 She received a Best Actress nomination for the melodrama Far From Heaven, in which she played a 1950s housewife whose world is shaken when her husband reveals he is gay. The role was written specifically for her by Todd Haynes, the first time the pair had worked together since Safe, and Moore described it as a very, very personal project, such an incredible honor to do. 69 David Rooney of Variety praised her beautifully gauged performance of a desperate woman buckling under social pressures and putting on a brave face. 70 Manala Dargis of the Los Angeles Times wrote, "What Moore does with her role is so beyond the parameters of what we call great acting that it nearly defies categorization." 71 The role won Moore the Best Actress award from 19 different organizations, including the Venice Film Festival and the National Board of Review. Moore's second Oscar nomination that year came for The Hours, in which she co-starred with Nicole Kidman and Meryl Streep. She again played a troubled 1950s housewife, prompting Kenneth Turan to write that she was essentially reprising her Far From Heaven role. 72 Moore said it was an unfortunate coincidence that the similar roles came at the same time, and that the characters had differing personalities. 73 Peter Travers of Rolling Stone called the performance wrenching. 74 While Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian praised a superbly controlled, humane performance. 75 The Hours was nominated for 9 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Moore also received BAFTA and SAG Award nominations for Best Supporting Actress, and was jointly awarded the Silver Bear for Best Actress with Kidman and Streep at the Berlin International Film Festival. Established actress, 2003 to 2009. Moore did not make any screen appearances in 2003, but returned in 2004 with 3 movies. Her first 2 ventures of the year were not successful. Marie and Bruce, a dark comedy co-starring Matthew Broderick, did not get a cinematic release. 76 Laws of Attraction followed. Pierce Brosnan also starred in the romantic comedy based in a courtroom. The film was panned by critics. 77 Commercial success for Moore came with The Forgotten, a psychological thriller in which she played a mother who is told her dead son never existed. Although the film was unpopular with critics, it opened as the US box office number 1. 78-79. In 2005, Moore worked with her husband for the 3rd time in the comedy Trust the Man 16 and starred in the true story of 1950s housewife Evelyn Ryan in The Prize Winner of Defiance, Ohio. 80 Her first release of 2006 was Freedomland, a mystery co-starring Samuel L. Jackson. The response was overwhelmingly negative. 81 But her follow-up, Alfonso Cuarón's Children of Men, 2006, was highly acclaimed. 82 Moore had a supporting role in the dystopian drama, playing the leader of an activist group. It is listed on Rotten Tomatoes as one of the best reviewed films of her career, and was named by Peter Travers as the 2nd best film of the decade. 83-84. Moore at the 2009 Venice International Film Festival. Moore made her Broadway debut in the world premiere of David Hayer's play The Vertical Hour. The production, directed by Sam Mendes and co-starring Bill Nighy, opened in November 2006. Moore played the role of Nadia, a former war correspondent who finds her views on the 2003 invasion of Iraq challenged. 85 Ben Brantley of the New York Times was unenthusiastic about the production, and described Moore as miscast. In his opinion, she failed to bring the tough, assertive quality that her role required. 86 David Rooney of Variety criticized her lack of stage technique, adding that she appeared stiffly self-conscious. 85 Moore later admitted she found it difficult performing on Broadway and had not connected with the medium, but was glad to have experimented with it. 10 The play closed in March 2007 after 117 performances. 87 Moore played an FBI agent for the second time in Next, 2007, a science fiction action film co-starring Nicolas Cage and Jessica Biel. Based on a short story by Philip K. Dick, the response from critics was highly negative. 88 Manala Dargis wrote, "Ms. Moore seems terribly unhappy to be here, and it's no wonder." 89 The actress has since said it was her worst film. 8 Savage Grace, 2007, followed, the true story of Barbara Daly Beck Eland, a high society mother whose Oedipal relationship with her son ended in murder. Moore was fascinated by the role. 31 Savage Grace had a limited release, and received predominantly negative reviews. 1991 Peter Bradshaw, however, called it a coldly brilliant and tremendously acted movie. 92 In I'm Not There, 2007, Moore worked with Todd Haynes for a third time. The film explored the life of Bob Dylan, with Moore playing a character based on Joan Baez. 93 In 2008, she starred with Mark Ruffalo in Blindness, a dystopian thriller from the director Fernando Meirelles. The film was not widely seen, and critics were generally unenthusiastic. 94-95 Moore was not seen on screen again until late 2009, with 3 new releases. She had a supporting role in The Private Lives of Pippa Lee, and then starred in the erotic thriller Chloe with Liam Neeson and Amanda Seyfried. 23 Shortly afterwards, she appeared in the well-received drama A Single Man. 96 Set in 1960s Los Angeles, the film starred Colin Firth as a homosexual professor who wishes to end his life. Moore played his best friend, a fellow English expat and semi-alcoholic divorcee. 97 A character that Tom Ford, the film's writer-director, created with her in mind. 10 Leslie Fulperin of Variety commented that it was Moore's best role in some time, and was impressed by the extraordinary emotional nuance of her performance. 98 A Single Man was selected as one of the top 10 films of 2009 by the American Film Institute. 99 And Moore received a 5th Golden Globe nomination for her performance in the film. 39 Return to television and comedic films, 2010 to 2013. Moore at the premiere of The Kids Are All Right at the 2010 Berlin International Film Festival. Moore was on television for the first time in 18 years when she played a guest role in the 4th season of 30 Rock. She was in 5 episodes of the Emmy-winning comedy playing Nancy Donovan, a love interest to Alec Baldwin's character Jack Donaghy. 100 She appeared in the series finale in January 2013. 101 She also returned to As the World Turns as Franny Hughes, making a brief cameo appearance in a scene with her character's family near the end of the show's run in 2010. 14 Her first big screen appearance of the new decade was Shelter, 2010, a film labeled as heinous by Tim Roby of the Daily Telegraph. 102 The psychological thriller received negative reviews and did not have a US release until 2013, when it was retitled Six Souls. 103 Moore starred with Annette Bening in the independent film 104 The Kids Are All Right, 2010, a comedy drama about a lesbian couple whose teenage children find their sperm donor. The role of Jules Orlgood was written for her by writer-director Lisa Kolodenko, who felt that Moore was the right age, adept at both drama and comedy, and confident with the film's sexual content. 105 The actress was drawn to the film's universal depiction of married life, and committed to the project in 2005. 105 The Kids Are All Right was widely acclaimed, eventually garnering an Oscar nomination for Best Picture. 106 Betsy Sharkey, a critic, liked Moore's performance of Jules, calling it an existential bundle of unrealized need and midlife uncertainty. She wrote, There are countless moments when the actress strips bare before the camera, sometimes literally, sometimes emotionally, and more plays every note perfectly. 107. The Kids Are Alright earned Moore a 6th Golden Globe Award nomination and a 2nd BAFTA nomination for Best Actress. I read her biography, books that were written about her and the election, listened to her voice endlessly on my iPod and worked with a vocal coach. I basically immersed myself in the study of her, and attempted to authenticate her as completely as possible. It was tremendously challenging to represent someone so very well known and idiosyncratic, and so recently in the public eye. More on portraying Sarah Palin in Game Change 108. Julianne Moore actively looked for another comedy. 109. She had a supporting role in Crazy, Stupid, Love, playing the estranged wife of Steve Carell, which was favorably reviewed and earned $142.8 million worldwide. 110-111. She did not appear on screens again until March 2012, with a performance which received considerable praise and recognition. She starred in the HBO television film Game Change, a dramatization of Sarah Palin's 2008 campaign to become vice president. Portraying a well-known figure was something she found challenging. In preparation, she conducted extensive research and worked with a dialect coach for 2 months. 112. Although the response to the film was mixed, critics were appreciative of Moore's performance. 113. For the first time in her career, she received a Golden Globe, a Primetime Emmy, and a SAG Award. Moore made 2 film appearances in 2012. The drama Being Flynn, in which she supported Robert De Niro, had a limited release. 114. What Maisie Knew had a wider release, the story of a young girl caught in the middle of her parents' divorce. Adapted from Henry James's novel and updated for the 21st century, the drama earned near universal critical praise. 115. The role of Susanna, Maisie's rock star mother, required Moore to sing on camera, which was a challenge she embraced despite finding it embarrassing. She called Susanna a terrible parent, but said the role did not make her uncomfortable, as she fully compartmentalized the character. I know that that's not me. What Maisie Knew was well received. 115. In 2013, Moore had a supporting role in Joseph Gordon-Levitt's comedy Don John, playing an older woman who helps the title character to appreciate his relationships. Reviews for the film were favorable. 116. And Mary Pauls of Time felt that Moore was a key factor in its success. 117. Her next appearance was a starring role in the comedy The English Teacher, 2013, but the outing was poorly received and earned little at the box office. 118. In October 2013, she played the demented mother Margaret White in Carrie, an adaptation of Stephen King's horror novel. 119. Coming 37 years after Brian De Palma's well-known take on the book 120, Moore said that she wanted to make the role her own. By drawing on King's writing rather than the 1976 film 121, Mick LaSalle of the San Francisco Chronicle wrote that she managed to suggest a history, one never told, just hinted at, of serious damage in Margaret's past. 119. Although the film was a box office success, it was generally considered an unsuccessful and unnecessary adaptation. 122-123. Critical and commercial success, 2014 to 2017. Moore at the 2014 Cannes Film Festival, where she won the Best Actress award for Maps to the Stars. Moore enjoyed a considerable degree of critical and commercial success in 2014. Her first release of the year came alongside Liam Neeson in the action thriller Non-Stop, set aboard an airplane. The response to the film was mixed, but it earned $223 million worldwide. 124-125. Moore won the Best Actress award at the Cannes Festival for her performance as Havana Sagrand, an aging actress receiving psychotherapy in David Cronenberg's black comedy Maps to the Stars. 126. Described by The Guardian as being a grotesque, gaudy, and ruthless character, Moore based her role on an amalgam of Hollywood casualties she had encountered, and drew upon her early experiences in the industry. 127 Peter DeBrugge of Variety was critical of the film, but found Moore to be incredible and fearless in it. 128 Moore's success at Cannes made her the second actress after Juliette Binoche to win Best Actress awards at the big three film festivals, Berlin, Cannes, and Venice. 129 She received a Golden Globe nomination for her performance. 130 Moore played the supporting role of President Al McCoy, the leader of a rebellion against the Capitol, in the third installment of the lucrative The Hunger Games film series, Mockingjay, Part 1. The film ranks as her highest grossing to date. 42 Her final film performance of 2014 ranks among the most acclaimed of her career. In the drama Still Alice, Moore played the leading role of a linguistics professor diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease. 131 She spent 4 months training for the film, by watching documentaries on the disease and interacting with patients at the Alzheimer's Association. 132 David Thompson wrote that Moore was extraordinary at revealing the gradual loss of memory and confidence, while according to Kenneth Turan, she was especially good at the wordless elements of this transformation, allowing us to see through the changing contours of her face what it is like when your mind empties out. 133 134 Several critics felt it was her finest performance to date. 135 And Moore was awarded with the Golden Globe, SAG, BAFTA, and Academy Award for Best Actress. Moore began 2015 by appearing as an evil queen in Seventh Son, a poorly received fantasy adventure film co-starring Jeff Bridges. 136 She also appeared opposite Elliot Page in Freeheld, a drama based on a true story about a detective and her same-sex partner. 137 And in the romantic comedy Maggie's Plan, with Greta Gerwig and Ethan Hawke. Both films were presented at the 2015 Toronto International Film Festival. 138 In Maggie's Plan, Moore played a pretentious Danish professor, a comedic role which critic Richard Lawson of Vanity Fair deemed as the film's chief pleasure. 139 Later that year, she reprised her role as Al McCoy in The Hunger Games, Mockingjay, Part 2, the final film of the series. 140 After a year absence from the screen, Moore had 3 films come out in 2017. She appeared in a dual role in Wonderstruck, a film adaptation of Brian Selznick's historical children's novel of the same name, redeeming her with Todd Haynes. Her parts were of a silent movie star in the 1920s and a deaf librarian in the 1970s. In preparation, she studied sign language and watched the films of Lillian Gish. 141 142 Richard Lawson considered her to be eminently watchable despite her limited screen time. 143 Moore portrayed a dual role for the second time that year in Suburbicon, a satirical thriller written by the Coen brothers and directed by George Clooney. She was cast opposite Matt Damon in a dual role as twin sisters in 1950s America, named Rose and Margaret, who become embroiled in a local crime. 141 The film received negative reviews, with critics saying it failed to effectively portray American racism, but Jeffrey McNabb of The Independent praised Moore for giving a perfectly judged comic performance as a Barbara Stanwyck-like femme fatale. 144 145 Moore's final release of 2017 was the sequel to the 2015 spy film Kingsman: The Secret Service, subtitled The Golden Circle, co-starring Colin Firth, Taron Egerton, Channing Tatum, and Halle Berry. 146 She played the part of the villainous entrepreneur Poppy Adams, who runs a drug cartel. Despite her character's actions, Moore played the part to make Poppy seem strange, but reasonable. 141 Peter DeBrugge described the film as outlandish, and wrote that Moore had played her part as Martha Stewart crossed with a demonic 1950s housewife. 147 The film earned over $410 million worldwide. 148 Independent films and streaming projects, 2018, present. Moore had 2 films premiere in 2018. She was drawn to Sebastián Lelio's Gloria Bell, an English-language remake of Lelio's own Chilean film Gloria, for its rare depiction of a middle-aged woman's quest for meaning in life. 149 Stephen Dalton of The Hollywood Reporter believed she had delivered an utterly natural and quietly spellbinding star performance. 150 and The New York Times named her one of the 10 best actors of the year. 151. Her second film that year was Bel Canto, a thriller based on Anne Patchett's novel of the same name about the Japanese embassy hostage crisis in Lima, Peru. 152 For her performance as an opera singer, she learned to mimic the body language of professionals for scenes in which Renee Fleming performed the vocals. 149 Guy Lodge of the Chicago Tribune deemed the film to be an unsuccessful adaptation of the novel and considered Moore's work to be edgeless fare by her standards. 153 In 2019, she teamed with her husband again in After the Wedding, a remake of Susanne Bier's Danish film of the same name. It featured her and Michelle Williams in roles played by men in the original film. 154 Also in 2019, she starred in The Staggering Girl, a short film directed by Luca Guadagnino. 155. In 2020, Moore portrayed the feminist activist Gloria Steinem in the biopic The Glorias, sharing the part with actresses Alicia Vikander and Lulu Wilson. 156 157 In following year, she had supporting roles opposite Amy Adams in Joe Wright's thriller The Woman in the Window, based on the novel of the same name, and in Stephen Kbosky's musical film Dear Evan Hansen, based on the stage musical of the same name. 158 Both films were poorly received. 159 160 Moore played the title role in Lisa's Story, an Apple TV Plus miniseries adapted from Stephen King's thriller novel of the same name. 161 162 The miniseries was not well received, despite praise for Moore's work. 163 She took on the leading role of an uptight mother in When You Finish Saving the World, 2022, a comedy-drama film by Jesse Eisenberg. 164 The Hollywood Reporter's John DeFore commended her for empathetically portraying an unlikable character. 165 Moore served as jury president of the 79th Venice International Film Festival in 2022. 166. Moore, on right, with Tilda Swinton and Pedro Almodovar at the premiere for The Room Next Door at the 2024 Venice International Film Festival. Moore next starred in the thriller Sharper, 2023, for Apple TV Plus, which she also produced. 167 It had modest reviews. 168 169 Once again, she collaborated with Todd Haynes in May-December, a drama co-starring Natalie Portman, in which she played a woman married to a much younger man. 170 Moore was pleased to play a transgressive character, finding her unbelievably complicated and compelling. 171 The film received critical acclaim. 172 173 And Jonathan Romney of Screen Daily commended Moore for combining both neurotic fragility and overbearing brittleness in her performance. 174 She received another Golden Globe nomination for it. 175 The 2024 historical satire miniseries Mary and George starred Moore as Mary Villers opposite Nicholas Galitson's George Villers. 176 The Independent's Nick Hilton found Moore more effective in Mary's dramatic moments than her farcical ones. 177 While Lucy Mangan of The Guardian called her performance brilliant, cold, clever, and always scintillating. 178 It earned her another Independent Spirit Award nomination. 179 The same year, Moore starred alongside Tilda Swinton in The Room Next Door, which marked Pedro Almodovar's first English-language feature film and won the Golden Lion at the 2024 Venice Film Festival. 180 Based on the novel What Are You Going Through by Sigrid Nunez, Moore played an author who reunites with a former colleague with cancer. 181 She was particularly drawn towards the project for its depiction of female friendship, which she believed was rare in film. 182 Complementing the performances of both women, BBC Culture's Nicholas Barber found Moore especially deft in her delivery of Almodovar's awkwardly written dialogues. 183 She received a Goya Award nomination as Best Actress for the role. 184 In her third project for Apple TV+, Moore led the thriller film Echo Valley. 185 She will also team with James McAvoy in the action thriller film Control. 186 Writing. Moore at the 2009 Venice International Film Festival. Alongside acting work, Moore became an author of children's books. Her first book, Freckle-Faced Strawberry, was published in October 2007 and became a New York Times bestseller. 187 188 Time Out says that it is a simple, sweet, and semi-autobiographical narrative. It is about a girl who wishes to be rid of her freckles but comes to accept them. 189 Moore decided to write the book when her young son began disliking aspects of his appearance. She was reminded of her own childhood, when she was teased for having freckles and called freckle-faced strawberry by other children. 190 The book turned into a series with 6 sequels as of 2016. Freckle-Faced Strawberry and the Dodgeball Bully was published in 2009, and Freckle-Faced Strawberry, Best Friends Forever in 2011. 191 Both have the message that children can overcome their problems. 192 Freckle-Faced Strawberry, Backpacks, Freckle-Faced Strawberry, Lunch, or What's That? And Freckle-Faced Strawberry, Loose Tooth were released as part of Random House's Step Into Reading program. 193 194 They were followed by Freckle-Faced Strawberry and The Really Big Voice in summer 2016. 195 Freckle-Faced Strawberry has been adapted into a musical, written by Rose Kaela and Gary Cooper, which premiered off-Broadway at the New World Stages in Manhattan, in October 2010. 196 Moore had input in the production, particularly by requesting that it retain the book's young target audience. 197 The show has been licensed and performed at several venues, which she calls extremely gratifying and extremely flattering. 192 Moore wrote a children's book separate from the Freckle-Faced Strawberry series. Released in 2013, My Mom is a Foreigner, But Not to Me is based on her experiences of growing up with a mother from another country. 198 199 The book had a negative reception from Publishers Weekly and Kirkus Reviews. While recognizing it as well-intentioned, Moore's use of verse and rhyme was criticized. 200 In February 2025, under the second Trump administration, an executive order required about 160 Defense Department-run schools 201 to conduct a compliance review of books regarding gender ideology and racial indoctrination. 202 203 After Moore said that her Freckle-Faced Strawberry book was banned by the Pentagon 204 205 Some media headlines implied that there was a wholesale ban of the book nationwide. 206 207 Artistry and reception. Moore has been called one of the most talented and accomplished actresses of her generation in the media. 1438 As a woman in her 60s, she is unusual for being an older actress who continues to work regularly and in prominent roles. 208 She enjoys the variety of starring in both low-budget independent films and large-scale Hollywood productions. 1037 In 2004, an IGN journalist wrote of her rare ability to bounce between commercially viable projects like 9 Months to art house masterpieces like Safe Unscathed and added, she is respected in art houses and multiplexes alike. 209 Moore is noted for acting in a range of material. 437 210 And Ridley Scott, who directed her in Hannibal, praised her versatility. 15 In October 2013, she received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. 13 She was named to People magazine's annual beauty lists on 4 occasions, 1995, 2003, 2008, and 2013. 211 In 2015, Time magazine included Moore as one of the 100 most influential people in the world on the annual Time 100 list. 212 In 2020, the New York Times ranked her 11th on its list of the greatest actors of the 21st century. 213 And in a 2022 readers' poll by Empire, she was voted one of the 50 greatest actors of all time. 214. I never care that my characters are strong. I never care that they're even affirmative. I look for that thing that's human and recognizable and emotional. You know, we're not perfect, we're not heroic, we're not in control. We're our own worst enemies sometimes, we cause our own tragedies. That's the stuff that I think is really compelling. Moore explaining why she is drawn to playing troubled women. 11. Moore is particularly known for playing troubled women, and specializes in ordinary women who suppress powerful emotions. 210 Oliver Burke-Eman of The Guardian wrote that her characters are typically struggling to maintain a purchase on normality in the face of some secret anguish or creeping awareness of failure. 16 Susie Mackenzie, also of The Guardian, has identified a theme of characters in a state of alienation, women who have forgotten or lost themselves. People whose identity is a question. 4. Moore's performances often include small hints at emotional turmoil, until there comes a point when the character breaks. 516 215 Kira Cochrane, a British journalist, said it is a trademark moment in many of her best films. 5 While it led Burke-Eman to call her the queen of the big screen breakdown. 16 When she does finally crack, says Simon Hattonstone, a British writer, it's a sight to behold, nobody sobs from the soul quite like Moore. 8. Ben Brantley of the New York Times has praised Moore's ability to subtly reveal the inner turmoil of her characters, writing that she is peerless in her portraits of troubled womanhood. 215 When it comes to more authoritative roles, Brantley believes she is a bit of a bore. 215 Emotional nakedness is Ms. Moore's specialty, he says, and it's here that you sense the magic she is capable of. 86. An interest in portraying actual human drama led Moore to the parts. 10-11 She is particularly moved by the concept of an individual repressing their troubles and striving to maintain dignity. Roles where the character achieves an amazing feat are of little interest to her, because we're just not very often in that position in our lives. 16 Early in her career, she established a reputation for pushing boundaries. 5 And she continues to be commended for her fearless performances and for taking on difficult roles. 10-216 When asked if there are any roles she has avoided, she replied, nothing within the realm of human behavior. 5. She is known for her willingness to perform nude and appear in sex scenes. 8-12 Although she has said she will only do so if she feels it fits the role. 10-216 Regarding her approach to acting, Moore said in a 2002 interview that she leaves 95% of the performance to be discovered on set. I want to have a sense of who a character is, and then I want to get there and have it happen to me on camera. The aim, she said, is to try to get yourself in a position to let the emotion happen to you, that you don't bring the emotion to it, and when it happens, there's nothing better or more exciting or more rewarding. 11. Personal life. Actor and stage director John Gould Rubin was Moore's first husband. They met in 1984 and married 2 years later. 14 They separated in 1993. 4 And their divorce was finalized in August 1995. 414 I got married too early and I really didn't want to be there, she has since said. 2 Moore began a relationship with Bart Freundlich, her director on The Myth of Fingerprints, in 1996. 217 They married on August 23, 2003, and live in Greenwich Village, Manhattan. 14 Moore has 2 children with Freundlich, a son who was born in 1997, and a daughter who was born in 2002. 218 Moore commented, We have a very solid family life, and it is the most satisfying thing I have ever done. 31. Moore spoke about how it affected her career choices while her children were young, saying she selected roles which were practical for her as a parent and did not require her to be away for extended periods of time. 15. Moore was featured in Finding Your Roots on PBS. Researchers mapped Moore's family tree and analyzed her DNA. When Moore's friend, actor Marisa Tomei did the same, Tomei and Moore learned they are genetic cousins. 219. Moore is an atheist. 17. When asked on Inside the Actors Studio what God might say to her upon arrival in heaven, she gave God's response as, "Well, I guess you were wrong, I do exist." 11. Moore is politically liberal. 8. And endorsed Barack Obama in the 2008 and 2012 presidential elections. 31. 220. She is a pro-choice activist and sits on the board of advocates for Planned Parenthood. 1631. She is a campaigner for gay rights. 5. And gun control. 17. And since 2008, she has been an artist ambassador for Save the Children. 221. She works with Everytown for gun safety. 222. Moore opposes Donald Trump's immigration policies. 223. And in 2020 she supported Joe Biden for president. 224. Moore is a supporter of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School students in Parkland, Florida, who organized the March for Our Lives. She helped release a music video for the group. 225. 226. 227. Moore has said that she finds little value in the concept of celebrity and is concerned with living a normal life. 16. After meeting her, Susie Mackenzie dubbed Moore as the most unostentatious of stars. 4. Moore attracts little gossip or tabloid attention. 16. And she is humble about her profession, it's just a person with a job. 16. And casual in her appearance. 831. Moore is known for maintaining a natural image and refrains from Botox and plastic surgery. 216. I feel like it doesn't make people look any younger. It makes them look like they've had surgery, she said in 2009, it's an aesthetic that's not human. Spirit Untamed is a 2021 American animated adventure film directed by Elaine Bogan and co-directed by Ennio Torres Jr., written by Ori Wallington and Kristen Hahn. The second theatrical film of the Spirit franchise, it is a soft reboot. 5 of Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, 2002, and is based on characters from Netflix spin-off series, Spirit Riding Free. With the voices of Isabella Merced, Jake Gyllenhaal, Marcy Martin, Mckenna Grace, Julianne Moore, Walton Goggins, and Andre Braugher, the film is about a young girl named Fortuna Lucky Prescott who moves to the small rural community of Miradero, where she meets the titular wild Kiger Mustang. As the son of Spirit and Rain from Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, she names the horse Spirit after his father, and Lucky immediately begins to bond with him. The film was announced to be in development in October 2019, and production was done remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic. The film was dedicated to the memory of Kelly Asbury, the co-director of the original Spirit film, who died on June 26, 2020. Produced by DreamWorks Animation, Spirit Untamed was theatrically released in the United States on June 4, 2021, by Universal Pictures. The film received mixed reviews from critics who deemed the film inferior to the original and unnecessary, though its animation and humor was praised. The film underperformed at the box office, grossing over $42 million worldwide against a budget of $30 million, making it both DreamWorks Animation's cheapest and lowest grossing film to date. Plot: in the early 1900s in the Wild West, Milagro Navarro Prescott performs her trademark act in the circus until she falls from a horse during one of her performances and dies. Years later, her young daughter, Fortuna Lucky Esperanza Navarro Prescott, has been living with her Aunt Cora and grandfather James in a city on the East Coast. However, after Lucky lets a flying squirrel in their house and ruins her grandfather's campaign party, she and Cora head to the western town of Miradero, where they will stay with Lucky's father Jim, whom Lucky has not known after the incident with Milagro, for the summer. On the train over, Lucky notices a Kiger Mustang running with his herd and goes to the back of the train to meet him. Upon arriving in Miradero, the pair meets local young riders Prue Granger, and her father Al, and Abigail Stone, and her brother Snips. The next day, Lucky goes to a corral where she sees the same horse from before. A man named Hendrix is trying to break the horse and treating it abusively. Lucky tells Jim and Cora about the horse, thinking he can be her new friend, but Jim does not want Lucky to go near the horses after what happened to Milagro. Nonetheless, Prue and Abigail help Lucky win over the trust of the horse, whom she names Spirit, naming him after his father from the original movie. After a while, Spirit trusts Lucky enough to eat an apple she offers him and allows her to pet him, sealing their bond. Lucky attempts to ride Spirit, but he escapes from the corral and runs away. Lucky is saved by Prue and Abigail after almost falling off a cliff at the canyon, but she falls into the water and dies and is still alive, but wounded. Jim finds and reprimands Lucky for disobeying him and warns her for being killed and hurt as well by Spirit just like Milagro. They go home arguing, making Lucky think he has gave up on her as she heard he was sending her back to her grandfather's campaign house in the city with Cora and never return to Miradero and never see Prue and Abigail again, but Lucky refuses. She sneaks out at night through the forest where she finds Spirit and his herd together, but is interrupted by Hendrix and his men, who capture all the horses but Spirit and take them in with a stolen train. Knowing Hendrix and his men are wranglers, who are taking the horses to a boat to be auctioned and worked to death, Lucky agrees to help Spirit rescue his herd. She enlists Prue and Abigail with their horses to embark on a journey to try and cut the wranglers off on their path by beating them to a water depot located beyond a summit called Heck Mountain. During the trip, Lucky builds up her relationship with Spirit and becomes good friends with Prue and Abigail as they travel. The girls reach the water depot the night before the wranglers are set to arrive, but Lucky wakes up the next day, realizing the wranglers made it earlier than expected. Spirit desperately attempts to save his herd on his own, but gets taken in by the wranglers. Determined to save Spirit, Lucky and her friends follow the train to the docks, where the wranglers are boarding the horses onto the boat. The girls arrive too late to stop the boat from leaving, but they manage to save Spirit. Lucky and Spirit get on board by leaping off the docks just like Milagro leaping off with her horse, freeing the other horses, and subduing the wranglers, with Spirit knocking Hendrix off the boat. Jim, Cora, and Al show up on a fast steam train and arrest Hendrix and the other wranglers. On their way back to Miradero, the girls travel to a field in the middle of the wilderness, and Lucky lets Spirit go, saying that he needs to stay with his herd. When she returns home, Lucky and Cora initially plan to return to the city, but after Lucky bonds with Jim at a rodeo, she decides instead to stay in Miradero with him and her friends, as Spirit is seen running through the fields with his herd. Voice cast: Isabella Merced as Fortuna, Lucky Esperanza Navarro Prescott, Milagro, and Jim's daughter, Cora's niece, and Prue and Abigail's friend. 7. Bridget Hoffman voices Baby Lucky. Marcy Martin as Prudence Prue Granger, Lucky's friend, and Al's daughter. 7. Mckenna Grace as Abigail Stone, Lucky's friend, and Snip's sister. 7. Walton Goggins as Hendrix, the leader of a gang of horse wranglers. 7. Andre Braher as Al Granger, Prue's father. 7. Julianne Moore as Cora Prescott, Lucky's aunt, and Jim's older sister. 7. Jake Gyllenhaal as James Jim Prescott, Lucky's widowed father and Cora's younger brother. 7. Eiza González as Milagro Navarro Prescott, a famous horse rider and Lucky's late mother. 7. Lucian Perez as Snip Stone, Abigail's younger brother. 8. Joe Hart as James Prescott Sr., Lucky's grandfather. Alejandro Blengio as Valentina. Gino Montesinos as Wrangler/Rodeo Cowboy. Jerry Clark as Wrangler/Llama Cowboy. Lou Temple as Wrangler/Conductor. Gary Anthony Williams as Wrangler. Rennie Rivas as Lady with Dog. Horse vocals are provided by Gary Hecker. Production. Development. On October 7, 2019, DreamWorks Animation announced that a spin-off film of Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, as well as an adaptation of its spin-off TV series Spirit Riding Free, was in development, with Elaine Bogan serving as director and Ennio Torreson Jr. serving as co-director from a script by series developer Ori Wallington, and produced by Karen Foster. 9. While Spirit Riding Free explores the characters of Lucky and her friends, Spirit Untamed focuses deeper for Lucky in an emotional take in a standalone film that is not a sequel to the original nor the TV series. 10-11. Animation and design. The film would be produced on a lower budget and be made by a different animation studio outside of DreamWorks' Glendale studio, similar to 2017's Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. 9. Following the first trailer, it was confirmed that Jellyfish Pictures, who worked on How to Train Your Dragon, Homecoming, would be providing the animation for the film, making Jellyfish's first animated project for over 300 people working on it. 12-13. The film uses a style that is a mix of 3D with the look of a hand-painted look from Riding Free, taking about 1,300 shots, 25 of which were animated by Jellyfish, and used 2D drawings to make 3D maquettes, some of which were supplied by DreamWorks. 14. Additional animation was provided by 88 Pictures from Troll Hunters, Rise of the Titans, and model rigging for the characters was provided by Minimo VFX. Production of the film started in August 2019 and shifted to work remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic. 15. Music. Main article, Spirit Untamed, soundtrack. On May 6, 2021, Amy Doherty, composer for the DreamWorks animation short film Marooned, was confirmed to be composing the music for the film, replacing Hans Zimmer, who composed the score for Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. Doherty was the first woman to compose a DreamWorks film. 16. The following day, a single titled Fearless, Valiente duet, written by Doherty and performed by Isabella Merced and Eiza González, was released by Backlot Music. 17. A second single, titled You Belong, performed by Becky G, was released on May 21, 2021. 18. A soundtrack of the film was released on May 28, 2021, and additionally, Robin Pecknold of Fleet Foxes is featured on several tracks contributing vocal harmonies along with Eiza González. Riding Free, the theme song from Spirit Riding Free by Carrie Kimmel, is featured in Untamed. 19. Release. Theatrical. Spirit Untamed was theatrically released on June 4, 2021, by Universal Pictures. 20. It was previously scheduled for May 14, 2021. 9. The film was released on digital rental on June 24, 2021, on streaming services Apple TV and Amazon Prime Video. Home media. Spirit Untamed was released on DVD and Blu-ray on August 31, 2021, by Universal Pictures Home Entertainment through Studio Distribution Services LLC in the United States. It was then released on DVD and Blu-ray as a special sleepover edition on October 25, 2021, by Warner Brothers. Home Entertainment in the United Kingdom, which features an hour of special features including how-to sessions on how to create your own indoor campfire, how to ukulele, and how to make s'mores, meet the cast, drawing spirit, finding your spirit, deleted scenes, and sing-along videos. It was later released on Hulu on November 3, 2021. The film grossed $2.9 million in home video sales. 21. Reception. Box office. Spirit Untamed grossed $17.7 million in the United States and Canada, and $25 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $42.7 million. 3-4. In the United States, Spirit Untamed was released alongside The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and was projected to gross around $5 million from 3,200 theaters in its opening weekend. 22-2 The film made $2.4 million on its first day, and went on to debut to $6.3 million, finishing fourth at the box office. 23-24 In its sophomore weekend the film dropped 57% to $3.8 million, finishing sixth. 25. Critical response. On review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 47% based on 116 reviews, with an average rating of 5.5/10. The website's critics' consensus reads, "While it might be a passable diversion for younger viewers, Spirit Untamed is a middling sequel that lacks the essential energy suggested by its title." 26. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 49 out of 100 based on 23 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. 27 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale, the same as the 2002 film. Post-Track reported 87% of audience members gave it a positive score, with 66% saying they would definitely recommend it. 24. Lovia Gyarki of The Hollywood Reporter praised the film for its animation, writing, "Spirit Untamed is beautiful to look at and occasionally genuinely funny. The stunning and detailed animations saturate Lucky's world with an impressive array of colors, from the crimson apples she feeds Spirit to the pistachio and emerald green leaves on the swaying trees." However, in criticizing the character of Spirit, she noted that Spirit is more one-dimensional here. He lacks the simultaneous mix of curiosity and complete disdain for humans that made his perspective charming in the first place. 28. Pete Hammond of Deadline praised the film for its female cast, stating that after all the decades of boy-driven stories set in the Wild West, it is refreshing to see the girls get their turn, and that is exactly what Spirit, writing free writer Ori Wallington and Kristen Hahn have in mind, along with their director Elaine Bogan and producer Karen Foster. Additionally, Hammond praised the soundtrack and vocal performances, which he wrote were perfectly pitched here, a step above the TV show if not quite up to the artistry of the original film. 29. Peter DeBrugge of Variety was critical of the film's animation, stating the film substitutes unappealingly designed, obviously digital characters, who've been badly rigged and stuck in under-detailed environments. He also added that Spirit still looks like Spirit, but neither the horse nor the girl, who's voiced by live-action Dora actor Isabella Merced, has much of a personality, while the plot is less sophisticated than what audiences might expect from an early 20th century single-reel silent movie. 30. Beatrice Loaza of the New York Times gave the film a negative review, stating that this spin-off of Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron is a bland, bubbly romp through the Wild West, with a heavy dose of girl power. 31. Jesse Hassanger of the AV Club gave the film a C+, stating that as a DreamWorks production, Spirit Untamed carries inarguable novelty. It's a sweet, simple western, relaxed about its identity as a girl-centric adventure story, in contrast to bigger DreamWorks cartoons sweaty about their desire to draw eyeballs from Pixar and Minions. He also praised the film for its expansion of the original series, noting that Spirit Untamed essentially retells, modifies, and expands the events of the show's pilot. 32. Accolades. Award date of ceremony category recipient, S. Result. Heartland Film Festival 2021.